It's selection night again. Tom Rehn joins me as always. Tommy, before we get into the teams that have just been named, you're at Kane Corns' retirement press conference. How was it this morning?
Look, it was all class, Treaders, and there's no doubt he will go out a legend just like you did. But there have been a few sections around the place suggesting that the timing is maybe a little bit off and that perhaps the decision has been a little bit selfish. With teammates, friends and family watching on, Kane Corns confirms next week's game against Richmond will be his 300th and last.
I don't think it's very often that players get to go out on their own terms. I feel like I'm really satisfied in what I've done.
Corns will begin his new career as a firefighter with a full-time training course from next month. The MFS runs another course for new recruits in September.
I didn't look into that. When I was offered the position, I spoke to Ken about it and I took it.
Hinkley stands behind Corns' decision, but the timing of the 32-year-old's retirement has been criticised as selfish.
And maybe that might have been a selfish decision to try and hang on for that when I probably know in my heart I'm probably not, up to playing 15 more games.
Selfishly, us as a club wanting to get to 300, and I think we should.
Corns retires with a premiership, 2 All-Australian honours and 4 club best and fairest to his name.
This will always be home to us, this club, but there's not an ending here.
Corns' spot on the list can't be replaced. The club won't say whether he'll be paid out the remainder of his contract.
Now, Rennie, there's been a lot of talk, as you mentioned, about whether it's selfish or not. I think the biggest thing around this is no one's seen this before. We saw Dom Cassisi in round 17 last year step away when he couldn't keep up with the game, but we know Kane Corns came back day one pre-season, broke his PB at 32 years of age for running the 3K time trial. His form's been pretty good, but as he said then, he has dropped off, and that's true. Kane is honest there, but the big one around this is we haven't seen it before. It did shock us, and it looks as if you sit there and go, oh, this is harsh, it looks as if he went round to get to 300 games, but that was Ken Hinkley's thinking. He has got a unique opportunity, and that's why, for me personally, I don't know which way to look on this one, because I know that, he's well within his rights to look at his future beyond football. A lot of players have those issues of not knowing where they want to go. But on the other side too, once you sign a one-year deal, the belief within the team is he always sign a one-year deal. So you know what? He's a 300-game servant. He's an AFL life member. His career has been phenomenal, and he's got the absolute best out of himself. So good on him, and he's got another couple of weeks to go.
And he'll go out an absolute champion and a legend. We'll keep on moving. He's obviously in the side this week. Squad of 25 for that game. 5 ins at this stage, Treaders. O'Shea, Need, Colquhoun, who many see as his replacement, Impey and Amon. 2 outs, Carlisle with the back, and obviously Young, who's been dropped. Brisbane, just the 3 inclusions at this stage, so they're going along pretty well after that win. Buick, Aish and Dawson. Is this a danger game for the Power, Treaders?
It's absolute danger game, because you look at Port Adelaide, their best has been as good as it was last year. But they're a yo-yo football team at the moment. And when I say that, it's not week to week, it's quarter to quarter. Against Hawthorn, best football we've seen by anyone in this competition, and then they nearly lose the game. So for Port, they need to pull the finger out. And I think last weekend's loss was a real kick up the behind to say, you know what, you're better than this, you need to pull the finger out.
Well, on the flip side, Lions coach Justin Leppich feels like that first win that they had could just get the monkey off their back.
It's like a batsman. If you keep making ducks, you're just waiting for that first run to get away, and that's pretty much all that's it. We can all play, we can all play the game well. It's just the nervousness sometimes doesn't bring out the best of you, and that's probably what's been happening, and we can sort of put that behind us now and play with a bit of freedom.
Well, let's hope not. Let's hope Port gets the win. Let's go to the Crows, Treaders. Just the one change. Rory Sloane, it's a big out for them, the cheekbone. Ricky Henderson comes back in. St Kilda, great win for them coming back from that 55-point margin against the Doggies, unchanged. So they're flying. How do you see the Crows travelling just at this stage?
They're just travelling, and that's not being disrespectful, but last week's win against the Gold Coast, it wasn't anything special. They got the job done. They were playing against a team who had 9 players out. Talk about just getting the job done. Eddie Betts has been phenomenal, let's be honest there. But I think Adelaide, they're sort of a bit like Port Adelaide. You've seen really good spots, and their first 2 weeks was certainly that. But I'm still surprised, Rennie, how they keep going in, and Sauce Jacobs is the man there. They've got an unhealthy reliance, even more so now that they're not even playing another ruckman. Jenkins is out. He hasn't been replaced in that fact. And I just worry when you keep pushing a guy to play 100 minutes, he's a star, you just don't want him to fatigue at the wrong end of the season. I think Adelaide need Jenkins back, or they need to make a risk pretty soon on playing a young kid in the ruck.
Yeah, O'Brien emergency once again. They know for sure they're expected to win the Crows, but the assistant coach David Teague says if they're off even just a fraction, they will get burnt.
Last weekend was a great example that if you're off by 5%, anyone can beat the opposition. So you've got to bring your A game every week. Really good sides can probably get away with being a little bit off. I probably wouldn't say we're at that stage yet, so we need to be switched on and playing good football.
Very honest, Rennie, and that's exactly what you want from your coaching staff. Thank you. See you Monday for the review.
Hopefully 2 wins for both our sides.
And hopefully my tips improve, because this is what I picked again last week, only just the 4. But GWS on fire. I think Fremantle will continue to stay unbeaten, and Port Adelaide and Adelaide, we need them both to back it up for the weekend anyway.